Good afternoon. Normally I don't do these till late in the afternoon, but usually I do the radio show and then I do the video. Oh, what happened? That's not what I wanted. There we go. That's better. Today I decided to do it now. I don't know why, but I just was like, I'm going to do it now. Do it during my noon show. Like I said, not sure why, but I just decided to. It's been a hell of a weekend. Oh no, he said hell. Yeah, if you're somebody who has a major problem with that, you're probably just going to want to go ahead and shut this video off now. I get it. And I'm trying. I've been trying to do a lot better. I've been trying to be the man I'm meant to be. I got a computer messed up. I'm trying, hoping to get into the BIOS because it's telling me there's no hard drive, but I know there is. Anyway, it's the Phillipsburg Live computer, so for those of you listening, well, no, the video, you won't actually hear me on Phillipsburg Live. But if you haven't already checked it out, phillipsburglive.com, godslovelive.com. We got great, when it's working, Phillipsburg Live, when it's working, Phillipsburg Live has great classic hits and local flavor from the Phillipsburg area here. When it's working, right now it's not. Not 100% sure what's going on. Computer's messed up. I'm working on it this afternoon. It's probably going to be a couple of days. So if you like to listen to the classic hits on Phillipsburg Live, you're going to want to go ahead and I don't know. It's going to be a couple of days. I am calling out to all of you who watch the shows, any of them really, who listen to any of the videos or listen to any of the audio programs, who maybe care, maybe we don't, I don't know, whatever. The title of the video, in case you didn't see it, I'll bring it up so that I get it right, because I want to make sure to get it right. Confused, discouraged, depressed, and disgusted. Now what? Yeah, that makes sense. I want to talk today about disappointment, discouragement, what that means to us in our serving in the kingdom. And yeah, I'm feeling a little discouraged. I'm feeling a little disgruntled, disgusted, whatever, confused. I posted a little bit ago this song, and even though I know it's going to be an issue, and they're going to mute it on the video, I'm going to play it anyway for you, because I want to. And they're going to mute it. So I'm going to tell you, go out and watch the video if you're listening. But if you're watching live, you probably get to catch it. If not, go out and check out the video. I do want to do our first break of the hour if I can even find. Here we go. And then I'll play that song. So just give me a second here. Let's see. It's Jason Crabb here on GodsLoveLive.com with Chuckles in the afternoon. What a beautiful... Oh, that mic is way loud. Let me turn that down some. What a beautiful afternoon it is. I hope you're having a great day. I'm looking out the window here at the office, and I can see the sunshine, and I can see some clouds in the sky. I'm doing a live video, Facebook.com/GodsLove2024. If you're listening on the audio and you'd like to check out the video, you can go to Facebook.com/GodsLove2024. And we're going to be talking about disappointment, discouragement, confusion, depression, and feeling disgusted. The title of our video, Confused, Discouraged, Depressed, and Disgusted. Now what? We're going to talk about the now what in our video today. On the music side of things, we're just going to introduce the music and not a whole lot of talk here on the radio. But if you want to check out the video, go to Facebook.com/GodsLove2024. I give that to you again. Facebook.com/GodsLove2024 if you want to hear what's going on. We'll be back in a little bit. We got Big Daddy Weave, Ren Collective, Skillet, and right now it's Amy Grant right after this on GodsLoveLive.com.
The best products are made.
Okay, so I'm going to play this song. And like I said, I know it's probably going to get muted for the people that are watching later, but for the live video viewers, if we have any, it won't be. So do me a favor, if you are watching, text 814-651-8865 and let me know. Let me know what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're going through. I want to know. Here's Jason Crabb. Hold on. Here's Jason Crabb. This is called God Can Use a Broken Man.
I've been down to the bottom. I was looking at a mountain I could not climb. I was addicted, if I'm being honest, for a long time. I was in a prison, in need of a savior. I lifted my hands up to the sky, cried out to heaven. I surrendered for the first time. Oh, God can use a broken man. He can take all of our failures, make us whole again. I'm living through. Yes, I am. That God can use a broken man. I've been changed for the better. I'm never gonna go back, and I am free. Just the forgiveness is better than anything I could ever dream. I could ever dream. Oh, God can use a broken man. He can take all of our failures, make us whole again. I'm living through. Yes, I am. That God can use a broken man.
It helps if I turn the mic up. How's that? That's better, I'm sure. I don't know how much of that will mute, how much will get muted on the live video. I see a couple of people popping in, so that's good. I will say that was, just a second. Come on. That was Jason Crabb, right? Crabb, yeah. God can use a broken man. And that's today's basic gist of the topic. I'm not doubting God's ability to use any and all of us. I'm doubting our ability, my ability, I guess, to be of use. I've been working for 3 years on God's Love Live, and I'll tell you, I've had some really positive experiences. That's true. I've been trying to get recovery day off the ground. My son's celebrating 2 years of being sober. It's a big landmark for us or whatever. For him, not for us. I didn't do anything. For him. I have a lot of stuff that I don't know. I don't really want to get into the details too much of things that, especially things that involve other people that aren't just mine. So I'm going to try to talk just about my issues. Issues. I guess that's a way to put it. In October, it'll be 3 years. End of October. The last day of October will mark 3 years since I left, I guess, what you would call a cushy corporate gig in radio. And I'm going to tell you my testimony, and I know that the title and probably the first few minutes of this is making people go, hey, wait, is Chuckles okay? I'm fine. I'm fine. I get discouraged, I get depressed, I get confused, I get disgusted. Here's the thing. I'm discouraged by me. I'm depressed because of my own action or inaction. I'm disgusted by the fact that although I want to be fully committed to the kingdom of the heavens, I want to be fully submitted to my Lord. I do. Yeah, man, it's hard. Right? But then I sit back and I watch, and I see people who I care about who move along with no care at all for what they may be committing to. I see people who I love dearly who have no interest at all in even knowing God, first of all. And of course, those people, that makes you just want to sit and cry at night. I'm laying in bed last night and I'm getting ready to go to sleep and I couldn't sleep. My wife, of course, she's like, oh, honey, you have a lot of pain. I'm like, yeah. It was kind of, it was true, but it wasn't honest. I'll put it that way. It was true, but it wasn't honest. I was truly having quite a bit of pain. Pain was more spiritual and emotional. Because of everything going on around me in my life and in the lives of others who I care about, in just completely everything that's going on around me, I was having a hard time sleeping because I'm watching people who love the Lord, and I know the Lord loves, and they're just falling apart. Whether they made some mistake that has people not happy with them, or however you want to put that, whether they're the people who are sitting in a way of unforgiveness, whether they are somebody who thought they had it all figured out and God is working on them. That's happening to a brother. God has changed some things for him recently, as he has for me. We're all going to go through those kinds of things. But the question is, what do we do now? So I can find a billion. I can find probably not a billion. I can find a whole lot of scriptural references that talk about discouragement, and I looked one up and it came up and it says Alma, and I was like, what is Alma? That's in the Book of Mormon, so this definitely isn't a web page that I want to be on. Let's try finding something that's a little less crazy and a little more actual. There we go. I can find all kinds of verses. I mean, Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That's a verse. He will never leave you. He will not leave you or forsake you. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31:8. John 16:33, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace in this world. You will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And I can go on and on and on. Jeremiah 29:11, Romans 15:13, 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18. Therefore we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but at what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, and the unseen will be, or the unseen is eternal. So there are no shortage of verses to help us understand that God is there for us, and I'm not doubting that. But in all things, in a lot of things, as in a lot of things, as we should in all things, I have a question. Last one here. 1 Peter 5:7, just because I really like it. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. So, Proverbs 3:5 and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. I can go on and on and on. And on and on and on. And some people who are much smarter than myself could, I'm sure, quite frankly, do even better. You know what? Go like this. I'm going to bring in our radio listeners in 4 minutes. Okay, so I thought about it. I thought a lot about it last night. I had a hard time, an extremely hard time getting to sleep last night. Last week, last Friday and Saturday, we were at church camp with our grandkids. And we came back on Saturday and we were exhausted. We were exhausted. Spend 25 hours or whatever with 100 children between the ages of 4 and 8 or whatever. And even though it was an amazingly encouraging time and a lot of great things were going on around us and the whole 9 yards, it was exhausting. It really was. And my wife was exhausted. I was exhausted, of course. And we come home, and we laid down to go to sleep, and I couldn't. There was a couple of things that did contribute to this not being able to sleep. A couple of things. Number one, my grandkids had been with me. A couple of my grandkids had been with me at that point for about 2 weeks. And I got very much used to having the kids there. And then we came home from camp, and my daughter came over to pick up the kids, and I was really kind of hoping that we'd get to spend a little time with her, but the kids were cranky, and she was tired, and et cetera, et cetera. So it just kind of got to the point where it was like, she really doesn't want to stick around long, so she took off. She went home. Well, not home, but she went back to where she was staying that night. And then we had a birthday party the next day, so we went to a birthday party the next day. Of course, Sue and I were still kind of exhausted, so it was one of those things where it was like, well, it's going to be, we're a little tired. We were. I still am, I think. And Saturday night, after she picked up the kids, they left. I was, like I said, we were all exhausted. And I kind of was like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and lay down. I was sure, honestly, I was absolutely sure. Oh, what happened there? That was interesting. I was absolutely sure, sorry about that, I was absolutely sure that we were going to just pass right out, because, come on, man, we were super tired. I ended up sitting up half the night, and the reason I sat up half the night and everything that has come from that has become more plain to me as the days go by. It really has. Basically, I've come to the conclusion that the reason that I sat up most of the night that Saturday night, although it was affected by missing the kids, of course, and just life in general and probably being a little too tired. Also, I'm distraught. I'm having a rough time dealing with the idea of watching people. Oops. Where'd my little thing go? There we go. I got some. Come on. There we go. I don't know. I don't know how best to explain this, but it was driving me nuts. Still drives me nuts. It's going to probably drive me nuts basically for the rest of my life. People that I'm watching and seeing, people I know, some people I don't know very well, other people I know quite well, who are lost. They're lost. And I wonder. I told Pastor Ryan this last or Monday night. Last Monday night we had a meeting at the church, and after the meeting at the church, Pastor Ryan looked at me and he says, "You seem kind of off, man. What's up, Chuck? What's going on? Something doesn't seem something doesn't seem quite right or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, honestly, Ryan, you're right." Um, and I kind of looked at him. I was like, "Well, it's a lot of stuff going on." And I'm just like I kind of dismissed it, but since then I've been thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and it wasn't this dismissive thing where it was like, yeah, you're right, kind of like whatever. Nope. What it was is the idea that I can't stand as we watch people more and more um, people that we know, that we love, that we should be just completely beside ourselves because Jesus is coming, right? I mean, he's coming and he's coming soon. That's what we keep telling people. And he loves you and he wants you to be reconciled with the Father. That's what we keep telling people. The question I have is, do we believe it's true? Do we believe that he wants to reconcile with everyone with God the Father? I get the impression, talking to some Christians, quite a few Christians actually, I get the impression that they don't fully believe Jesus came for us all to have reconciliation and forgiveness. I'm not as I didn't do nearly as bad of things as that person. Well, behavior has unintended consequences. If someone else was victimized by my behavior, then that unintended consequence is, serious. Oh, well, yeah, God is a God of reconciliation and restoration, but, but, there's my problem, and this is, I think, where I'm having an issue. I would love to be a part of what is listed in Isaiah 61, verse 3, the very end of the verse. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. Referring to those who grieve in Zion, because we're going to bestow upon them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, oil of joy instead of mourning, a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. I've had people since I started, a great many people actually. I've talked to people about sponsoring Recovery Day, helping to work with Recovery Day, being a part of Recovery Day. I think I need to bring our radio folks in. Whoops, I forgot to turn the mic on. Here we go. The mic's on now. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Probably a couple of minutes of silence there on God's Love Live radio channel. I'm doing a live video as we are doing this show, and I wanted to bring you in, um, the radio people in, because this is, as much as I love the music, this is important that we this thing I think that we're trying to discuss or working on discussing, or however you want to put that. I um, I urge you to go to facebook.com/God's Love 2024. Maybe go back and watch the video from the beginning. Maybe don't if you're, it's really, it's not that big a deal. Just, we were talking about being discouraged. I found myself last evening and a little bit this morning discouraged, confused, depressed, disgusted by the behavior of myself, by some behavior of um, some folks who call themselves Christians. I don't say that claiming that they're not. I say that they identify as followers of Christ, but then sometimes you look at them and wonder if they would recognize him or welcome him into the church. That's where I'm at. And like it or not, I'm not there because of my own ego, although it could easily be my own ego that causes this type of situation for me. I don't believe that's the case right now. I believe the case right now is that I'm just exhausted. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm fed up. I'm completely fed up with being told that though God set me aside, sanctified me, blessed me, has protected me, loves me, forgives me, and calls me to share all of that with other people in His name. I'm tired of people who call themselves follower of the same master I follow, Christ Jesus, just telling me how I'm not at all good enough. I'm not at all righteous enough. Multiple times in my life, I've thrown myself into, or I've intended to throw myself into following the Lord. Multiple times. Literally, like more than I can even really get into right now. Each time, I thought it was the enemy. And it was my fault. I did give in to these perceptions and the enemy and what the enemy put in front of me and how the enemy accused me, tore me up. And it is my fault, ultimately. I don't want to talk about that because I want to talk about this fault thing. You know, if we discuss why something turned out the way it turned out, oftentimes, for instance, a couple of times I was trying to move in God's will, trying to get closer to the heart of God because I felt like he was calling and nudging and just trying to grab hold of me and wanted to grab hold of me. And I am a weak, fleshly, sinful human being. So, of course, I kind of dropped it and walked away at some point or another because, and here's where I think the problem comes in with this idea of our own personal accountability. We should personally be accountable for whatever we do. And if I make a bad decision, it is 100% my fault. That's not even debatable. But I want to ask a question, and I want to ask it legitimately. I don't want, if you're going to start, sending me like nasty notes or whatever about how much of a prick I am or how much of a this, I don't care. I don't care. I get in so much trouble with my wife because I don't care. My wife we'll be talking about something, and she'll be like, I don't care. When it comes to certain discussions, I don't care how you feel. I don't care how I feel. And not because how we feel doesn't matter, not because how I feel doesn't matter, not because how you feel doesn't matter. Obviously, it matters. Not because we're not important, not because we're not loved. That's all, of course. The the point when I say I don't care about how I feel or how you feel or how this feels or how that feels or whatever comes when we sit back and we look at what we are claiming to be. I'm a follower of Christ. I love Jesus, man. Right? I love Jesus, man. Seriously. Do you love Jesus, man? I'm asking because I want to know. And there's a very specific reason that I want to know. I've discussed this a few times before in videos, but I want to go to John 14, verses 15. It will start in verse 15. Okay, so if you would, flip to John 14 with me. And I'll give you a couple of seconds to get there. Oh, man. My right leg's killing me today. Okay. And this is where Jesus promises the Holy Spirit. And I want you to pay attention here. Seriously, I would very much like, I'll give you another minute or two if you need me to. Because I would very much like for, if you're watching, listening, whatever, for you to read along. I'd like to know if you're watching or listening. Send me a message. Either send me a note, on Facebook or YouTube, whatever you're watching on. Or text 814-651-8865. You can always text 814-651-8865. And just say hello or whatever. This thing like hardly ever works. I've been trying to watch, and a few times I've actually gotten a message. I've not seen it until later on. Oh, it looks like Carol might be on. Hi, Carol. I'm going to apologize as you start to kind of roll on here. And if you're watching this video later, I did it live in the afternoon here, but if you're watching it later, I want to say I'm not trying to be adversarial. I'm not trying to be mean. I actually heard somebody in a video yesterday afternoon. I was watching videos trying to cheer myself up or something. I don't really know. And I was watching, I guess it was like 10, 11 o'clock last night. I was watching videos on the porch. And this one gentleman comes on and he says, he's talking about calling people away from their sin. And he says, let's suppose you have an uncle who you love very much. You love your uncle very, very much, and your uncle starts to drink. And your uncle starts to drink so much that you know that it's going to be detrimental to his health. So you call your uncle and you tell your uncle, I wish you wouldn't drink so much. I wish you would take care of yourself. Do you still love your uncle? Or the fact that you're calling him to try to stop his sin, is that not love? My wife looks at me and says, hey, honey, you're not eating properly because my sugar's out of whack and I'm a diabetic. Or if I look at my wife and say, honey, you're not eating properly, you're not taking proper care of yourself. We might argue because she might not want to eat properly. More likely it's going to be the other way around. I really like bacon and chocolate. And chocolate covered bacon, look out, we're in trouble. Anyway, if my wife calls me on my bad habits that are likely to shorten my life, is she not loving me? Now, I know a lot of you guys will be like, no, because, she's making me miserable. No, that's not true. She wants me to live longer, so she's asking me to, if I'm eating too much bacon, for instance, or if someone you know is drinking or doing drugs or living a sexually immoral life, or whatever it is that's going to shorten their life, remove them, tear them away from the Lord, shouldn't we call those people into account? Absolutely. So then what? What do I do? If I see a brother or sister in Christ stumbling, well, we're to call them. Thank you, Carol. Carol's enjoying the show. I got a message. See, it's working, sort of. Sort of. I got a message from Carol saying she's enjoying the live show. I'm glad you're enjoying the live show, Carol. Hope you can stick around for a while. But the question, seriously, the question is then what? Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to determine, I guess, what that means as far as, we know, okay, we can look, and we did a video about this a while back. We talked about it at great length. You are to approach a brother or sister with another, or by yourself, and hey, here's the problem. Try to call them out. Try to show them they need to repent and change this behavior. So if I go to my uncle and I tell him, I need you to stay. Oh, come on, Uncle Bob, I need you to quit drinking. It's going to kill you. And if Uncle Bob looks at me and says, okay, I got to quit drinking. Let's get me some help. And we take him to rehab and he gets help and he quits drinking. Freaking phenomenal, right? But if he doesn't, then what? Then what? What do we do? What do I do if Uncle Bob doesn't want to listen? Well, I go and I get someone else. Maybe I get Aunt Karen. Maybe I take Aunt Karen with me the second time round. And this is obviously, I'm using a biblical structure, but I'm talking just about an alcohol problem because I'm trying to use very specifics so that we can understand what we're talking about. I get Aunt Karen and I go back and Aunt Karen and I both tell Uncle Bob. And she's looking at him going, honey, please. Or maybe it's his sister. She's looking at him going, brother Bob, please. Whatever. And Bob won't listen. Still won't listen. Well, then we have an intervention. We call together all Bob's friends and family. We sit down with Bob and we explain to Bob how his actions are negatively affecting us and how much it hurts to watch him go down this road. Here's the thing, man. You can spend your entire life as a drunk, die of cirrhosis of the liver, and if you're saved, right? You're going to heaven. So what I want to ask you, brothers and sisters out there who are followers of Christ, is if I'm going to go that far for my Uncle Bob, we do that. We do that quite often when it comes to addiction, serious addiction now, Chuckles, serious addiction, Not the coffee, not the smoking, but the serious addiction like alcohol, gambling, porn, sex, drugs. Those are serious addictions. Those are serious. We got to be careful. Those people, they're manipulative. Unlike the rest of us who just suffer from addiction to our fleshly sinful nature, right? When I say this, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about specifically me. I want you to understand this because and I'm going to get into this again, and I did this a while ago, and I upset a lot of people. So if you're one of those people that got upset when I talked about how much of just a worthless piece of trash I am, and I'm talking without God, without the grace and mercy of Christ, without the love of God, the grace and mercy of Christ to cover my iniquity with his blood, without him coming to this earth and giving up his actual godly power, I cannot make myself or anyone else righteous. I cannot be anything but evil. We look at people who suffer from addiction, and I'm trying to change the narrative on that, by the way. I know a lot of people like to have different narratives about a lot of things, and a lot of us refer to people who are struggling with addiction as drug addicts or gambling addicts or porn addicts, etc. If you're going to do that, if you stubbornly say I want to continue to use that, I invite you to refer to yourself as a sin addict. I think we should change the way we identify people who struggle with addiction. As in my son Bobby, whom I love very much and struggles with addiction. Whether it be drug addiction or some other addiction, I think we should do it that way. I think all these people talking about all these feelings and how we need to, but we want to label people. We want to identify them as their illness or as the thing that they struggle with. Somebody actually said to me not too long ago, once an addict, always an addict. And I was like, that's true. Just give up now. Right? If the old adage once, and I've heard it about other things, once a cheater, always a cheater, once a this, once a that, whatever. That is specifically and completely contrary to the gospel good news of Messiah, Jesus Christ, who came to save you and I. And all of us. It is specifically contrary to the gospel teaching of Christ when you say something like that. If you tell me there is a person, a human being created in God's image on this planet that cannot receive the grace and mercy that Christ offers on the cross, then everything I believe, everything you believe is bullshit. I'm going to say that again. Bullshit. Worthless, like dung laying on, actually worth less than dung laying on the ground, because at least the dung laying on the ground, I can scoop up the cow poop or the bull poop, and I could take it over and dump it on my corn, and it'll help the corn to grow bigger and more useful. The gospel of Christ Jesus is foolishness. These aren't my words, they're Paul's. Matter of fact, I think that's what we're going to look up first. I'll give you the passage here. It's 1 Corinthians 1:18. And I was going to look at this 4:15, but we're going to come back to 4:15 in John. Or was it 4:15 or 14:15? I think it's 14:15. Yeah, we're going to come back to that in John a little while later. Right now we're going to look at this. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 18. These are Paul's words, not mine. Not like this is an original idea. This came from a long time ago. This came from Paul. For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing. But to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. Foolishness to those who are perishing. That means if it's not true, it's foolishness. Because if it's not true, we're perishing. If it's not true, but what the Jews believe about Yahweh is true, we're committing horrible blasphemy. So again, we've got to ask ourselves the question. Is the gospel good news that we have, the message we've heard through the disciples and the apostles, is it true? Did Jesus, first of all, is Jesus God the Son? Is he God made flesh? We got to ask ourselves that, right? Because if he isn't, then we're in trouble. If God exists, we're in trouble if Jesus isn't who he claimed to be. And he did claim to be the Messiah, Son of God. He said it. I think we can establish that. I think we can stop arguing over whether, when he said, I am, he was referring to the same way that God referred to himself back in the days of old in the Old Testament. I am that I am. Remember that? Okay, so I think that if you read the Bible, you're going to find, and if you read what Jesus said, and if you read what the apostles said about Jesus after he was resurrected and returned to heaven to be at the right hand of the Father, you're going to find that he is, or at least is claiming to be, the Son of God. God made flesh. Now, I have a differing opinion than some people about why this is important. Or I guess it's not really a differing of opinion, it's a added part of what I think this is all about. I can't believe we're already at an hour. Actually, I can. I'm going to go do the radio show for the rest of the afternoon. I don't really want these videos to get much over an hour because I feel like people kind of lose interest. It's kind of a shame, you squeeze a little God into that hour. Are you good for the week now? Like, I don't have to go to church. I watched that 2-hour video Chuckles put up on Saturday. I punched my ticket for the week. Is that really where we reside? We've been squeezing God in to our busy schedules for so long, it just has become second nature, really. All right, for those of you on the radio, I'll be back shortly. I'm going to play a couple songs for you because, well, I just need to. For those of you watching the video, we're gonna keep talking, so stick around. All right, so I did not intend to do nearly an hour on the radio, just talking. The radio, I usually play music, and people seem to like it, so I've tried to stick to that. Although maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I don't know. I literally like the title of this video: confused, discouraged, depressed, disgusted. That's me right now. And I'm not saying that it's okay to be there. It's where I am. I need help. I've been trying for so long to figure out a way to make Recovery Day happen. Now I'm afraid it's not going to. I'm coming to a place now of I may have to make a decision that I don't really want to make, in that we may have to cancel the Recovery Day. I don't want to. I don't want to do that. Certainly don't want to do that. I feel like it's something that our community and our world desperately needs, but I can't seem to get much in the way of support. I got a few people want to help it happen, but nobody really that's willing to help make it happen. A few people that are willing to do some work. But the more we try to find people who will sponsor, this thing isn't going to just happen spontaneously, freely. We wanted to have like at least hot dogs, if not maybe some hamburgers to give out to people. We'd like to, and the idea is to celebrate recovery with all of those people who are currently in recovery, and then to introduce God's love to people who need it for their recovery, because I think the only way to truly recover is with the love of God. The only way to truly be your best self, as they like to say, is with the love of God. So, this is going to be a week-long video thing, because quite frankly, we're an hour in, and I've barely scratched the surface of, you know, what's next. I guess being discouraged, being confused, being depressed. What was the other one? Being disgusted. These things are part of life in general. They just are, because this dark world is a terrible place. We're battling against the spiritual forces of this dark world because they don't want to give up their power. They don't want to give up their dominion. And make no mistake about it, we are invading their dominion. The kingdom of the heavens is invading their dominion. So they fight against it. They make people feel comfortable with where they're at, with their Burger Kingdom of the heavens kind of way. But there's no room for the Burger Kingdom of the heavens. It is literally Jesus's way or no way. Go back to that John 14, verse 15. If you love me, keep my commands, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you and be with you forever. The Spirit of truth, the world cannot accept him because it neither sees him nor knows him. But you know him, for he lives with you and will be in you. I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you. Before long, the world will not see me anymore, but you will see me because I live with you. Also, you will live. Oh, because I live, you also will live. On that day, you will realize that I am in my Father, and you are in me, and I am in you. Whoever has my commands and keeps them is the one who loves me. The one who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I too will love them and show myself to them. What does he want? He wants us to follow his commands. What commands are those? Well, if we go to Luke chapter 9. Luke is before John, Chuckles, so let's just, yep, there we go. Okay, Luke chapter 9. I'll give you a minute to get there. And we're going to be reading verse 23. And this is the verse where, very famously, Christ says, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross daily, and follow me. Did you take up your cross today? Did you deny yourself today? I'm trying right now. I'm trying right now to deny myself and take up my cross, as it were. Because as much as I would like to just call it a day and be discouraged, distracted, disgusted, confused, I want to get out of it. I want to talk about what's next. So the enemy was trying to discourage me today, was trying to make me feel disgusted, was trying to interest me more in my own blah than in serving the Lord. That's a fact. And of course, the enemy would like me to feel that way. Because it's hard for me to be effective in the kingdom. It's hard for me to be effective in our mission from Isaiah 61 and sharing that mission with you if I'm living in despair. Why? Well, because if I'm living in despair, why would I want to share that with anyone? And that's kind of the point I was trying to get to, and that's going to be probably about where I wrap up for today. It's okay to be discouraged for a moment. It's okay to be confused and depressed and disgusted and just fed up. I very rarely get fed up, by the way, with non-believers. Most of the time, it's believers. Wait a second, Chuckles. You're going to tell me that your biggest challenge is other Christians? Yes. One of the biggest frustrations you'll have, especially if you try to live fully in the Isaiah 61 message and spread the gospel. Because as a rule, we as human beings don't want that. No, what we want is we would like to sit back, relax, enjoy our Burger Kingdom of the heavens where we don't actually have to do anything except for be dunked and punch our monthly or weekly or bi-weekly or bi-monthly, or maybe it's just Christmas and Easter ticket. I go to church on Christmas and I go to church on Easter. Because those are the important days in the kingdom of the heavens. Those are the important days. Right? Yeah, not even close, man. All right, thank you for joining me on this video. I suggest, if you haven't already seen it, you go back and watch our video on YouTube. Give me a second. I'll look it up here. Matter of fact, I'll share it on the Raise Me Up God's Love Live Facebook page or whatever. It's a video, or it might be more than one. I'm trying to remember. Where's that account? Apparently I can't log into that account here. What do you mean? Yeah, right there it is. Okay. I hate when they add new crap. It really is me. It's mine. I punched in the password. I got a pretty decent password. Why do I need to then verify it on my phone? Ugh, I hate computers. 99.9% of the time. Alright, so see if I can find this real quick. It might not be that easy because there's quite a few videos on here. Aha! Deny yourself. Pick up your cross and follow me. Streamed about 7 months ago. I mean, I might check it out again because it's been a while since I watched it. Maybe I'll learn something new, huh? It's definitely possible. I oftentimes learn something new when I go back over old videos or read a verse that I thought I already fully understood, and I'll read it and be like, that's nowhere near what I thought that was, going to be. Like, oh man, what was I doing here? What happened? I just had it. I said share, and then it just kind of jumped away. But I tell you, I'm so glad.
We took our
That is not
grandkids.
what I was trying
Yesterday
to
was
do.
grandchildren.
So glad that they keep trying to improve all this stuff because, I mean, it wouldn't get worse if they didn't try to improve it. I try to find it again. Here we go. Okay. Go share that on our Facebook. It's the only thing when I do something like this, it can get kind of boring for you guys for a minute because I'm not really talking. But that's okay. I'm going to let you go here. Wouldn't want to take up too much of your time. Thank you for joining us. May God let His face shine upon you. May He bless you and keep you until the next time we're together. Meanwhile, text 814-651-8865. Tell me what you thought. And there is Deny Yourself. Pick up your cross and follow me. The video I did about that a little while ago. Have a great rest of your day. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Chuckles on God'sLoveLive.com.